Have you ever wondered where people actually meet now, when so much of life happens through phones, messages, profiles, and short moments of attention? Sometimes it can feel like love only starts on dating apps or social media, but that is not the full picture. People still meet through daily life, shared spaces, mutual friends, and simple conversations. In this video, we will look at where people really meet today, what signals often get misunderstood, and how to approach connection with more clarity. Welcome to Love for Beginners. Today, we're exploring a question that stands behind almost every human experience: where people really meet today. And what happens when this part of life becomes confusing, missing, or difficult to understand? Let's get into it. Meeting someone today looks different from the way it looked for previous generations, but the basic human need has not changed. People still want to feel seen, understood, and chosen. What has changed is the environment. Today, connection can begin in many places: school, university, work, hobbies, community events, mutual friend groups, social media, online communities, and dating apps. There is no single place where relationships begin anymore. This can be freeing, but it can also be confusing. In the past, people often met through smaller social circles. Today, a person can see hundreds of faces online before having one real conversation. That creates more opportunities, but also more uncertainty. It becomes easier to wonder, was that message just friendly? Did that like mean interest? Are they being polite, or are they trying to get closer? Modern connection often begins before anything is clearly said. Dating apps are one obvious place where people meet today. They make it possible to find people outside your usual social circle. For some, this is helpful, especially if their daily life does not naturally introduce them to many new people. But dating apps also create a specific kind of interaction. People often make quick judgments from photos, short bios, and limited messages. That can make attraction feel faster, but not always deeper. Social media is another common space where connection starts. Someone may reply to a story, react to a post, send a message, or slowly become familiar through repeated online contact. This kind of connection can feel natural because it does not always begin with direct romantic pressure. But it can also create confusion. Watching someone online is not the same as knowing them. A profile shows selected parts of a person's life, not the full person. Online communities also matter. People meet through gaming, study groups, creative spaces, interest-based forums, language communities, fitness groups, and many other digital spaces. These connections can feel meaningful because they begin with shared interests. When people already care about the same subject, conversation can start more easily. But even there, real trust still takes time. Shared interests can open the door, but they do not automatically create emotional compatibility. Despite all the attention on online dating, many people still meet through real-life environments: school, university, workplaces, friend groups, sports, volunteering, religious or cultural communities, and local events remain important. These spaces allow people to observe each other over time. You can see how someone behaves, how they treat others, how they handle small responsibilities, and how comfortable you feel around them. Real-life connection often grows slowly, but that slowness can be useful. One of the most underrated places people meet is through mutual friends. This matters because mutual circles can create a sense of basic familiarity. You are not meeting a complete stranger from nowhere. There is already some shared context. Of course, that does not guarantee a good match, but it can make early conversation feel safer and more natural, especially for people who feel uncomfortable with direct dating environments. People also meet through routine. The same class, the same cafe, the same gym, the same bus route, the same neighborhood, or the same hobby group can create repeated exposure. Psychologically, familiarity can increase comfort. When you see someone often in a normal setting, they may begin to feel easier to approach. But familiarity should not be confused with real interest. Seeing someone often does not mean there is a connection. It only creates the possibility for one. This is where signals become complicated. In modern relationships, many people read too much into small actions. A like, a view, a quick reply, or a smile can feel meaningful when you already like someone. But these actions can have many meanings. A person may be friendly, bored, polite, curious, or simply active online. One signal alone is rarely enough to prove romantic interest. Real interest becomes clearer through patterns, not one moment. Texting culture makes this even more confusing. Some people text quickly because they are comfortable with their phone. Others reply slowly because they are busy, distracted, or not very expressive through messages. A slow reply does not always mean rejection. A fast reply does not always mean deep interest. Texting can show effort, but it should not be the only place where you judge a connection. A healthier way to read signals is to look for consistency. Does the person show interest more than once? Do they ask questions back? Do they remember things you said? Do they make time for real conversation? Do they respect your boundaries? Do they communicate clearly when they can? These signs matter more than one emoji, one like, or one late-night message. Projection is another reason people misread connection. Projection happens when we place our hopes, fears, or assumptions onto another person before we really know them. If you deeply want someone to like you, you may interpret neutral behavior as romantic. If you fear rejection, you may interpret normal distance as proof they are losing interest. The problem is not having feelings. The problem is treating feelings as evidence before you have enough real information. This is especially common when someone has a crush. A crush can make small details feel huge. A short conversation may replay in your mind for hours. A message may feel like a sign. A quiet day may feel like a problem. These reactions are human, but they can become stressful if you build an entire story around limited contact. Real connection needs more than imagination. It needs interaction, honesty, and time. Attraction today is also shaped by comparison. Social media can make it seem like everyone has more options, better conversations, more confidence, or more exciting romantic lives. But online life is not a full picture. Many people feel just as uncertain, nervous, or confused as they look confident from the outside. Comparing your private feelings to someone else's public image can make connection feel harder than it needs to be. Another important truth is that people often meet when they are not trying to force everything. This does not mean you should do nothing. It means connection often grows best when people are living real lives, learning, working, joining activities, building friendships, and becoming more comfortable with themselves. When your life has movement and meaning, you naturally create more chances to meet people who share your world. But meeting someone is only the beginning. The real question is not only where people meet, but how they move from contact to connection. A relationship does not become real because two people matched, followed each other, or exchanged messages. It becomes real through mutual effort, respectful communication, emotional safety, and shared interest. The place where you meet matters less than what happens after. This is why healthy communication is so important. If you are interested in someone, you do not have to turn it into a dramatic confession. You can start with simple, respectful conversation. Ask a question. Show curiosity. Notice whether they engage back. If the interaction feels one-sided, accept that information. If it feels mutual, allow it to grow naturally. Clarity often comes from calm action, not endless overthinking. It is also important to respect boundaries in every space, online or offline. Someone being kind does not mean they owe romantic interest. Someone replying once does not mean they want constant messages. Someone posting online is not an invitation to pressure them. Healthy connection requires respect for the other person's comfort, time, and choice. This is especially important for younger viewers to understand early. So where do people really meet today? Everywhere. Online and offline, through apps, friends, school, work, hobbies, communities, messages, and everyday life. But the deeper answer is this. People meet where attention becomes respectful, where conversation becomes mutual, and where curiosity has room to grow. The challenge today is not only finding people. It is learning how to read connection without rushing, projecting, or turning every small signal into a full story. A like is not a relationship. A message is not a promise. A crush is not the same as emotional safety. Real connection becomes clearer when actions are consistent, communication is respectful, and both people are willing to know each other beyond the surface. In the end, modern love does not begin only in one place. It can begin through a screen, a shared class, a friend's introduction, a hobby, a message, or a simple conversation. But wherever it begins, the same rule remains. Healthy connection is built slowly, through reality, not fantasy. And when you understand that, dating becomes less about guessing signs and more about noticing what is actually there. Thank you for watching Love for Beginners. Every relationship starts with understanding, both ourselves and the people around us. If you want to explore more topics like this, support the channel by subscribing and leaving a like. Until next time.